What's up fam, we are back with the 14th patch of the year with a lot of exciting news. Let's get right into it. Riot has unveiled the new champion Aurora on PvE. She hails from Freljord and is set to be a ranged mage champion. When Aurora damages an enemy 3 times with her abilities or auto attack, her passive deals max HP % damage and summons a spirit that enhances Aurora's healing and movement speed for 4 seconds. Next, Aurora's Q unleashes cursed energy to a designated direction, dealing magic damage to enemies hit and marking them with spirit energy. The ability can be recast to deal additional magic damage proportionate to the target's missing HP. Aurora's W is an invisibility skill that allows her to leap to a chosen direction and turn invisible for 1 second. Takedowns on enemy champions within 3 seconds of damaging them resets the cooldown. Her E skill deals magic damage in an area and slows down enemies, and she gets knocked back after casts just like Graves' ult. Finally, her ultimate deals magic damage, slows down enemies, and creates an area for 3 seconds in which Aurora gets into an empowered spirit mode, doubling her bonus effects. Crossing the threshold from one end of the area to the other slows enemies and pushes them back toward the center. Aurora can recast the ability to end the effect early, kinda like an enhanced version of J4's ults. Next, we've got a few updates on champions. Smolder's Q, Sion's W, Jace's ranged Q, and Zed's Q damage will be buffed. Lilia will get a nerf to her passive's healing, Belveth will get a nerf on her attack range, Corki's base HP will reduce, Aphelios' Q damage will be buffed when it's on Binding Eclipse, Senti, and Onslaught form. Cho'Gath's Q and E damage will be buffed for late game, which is indeed hardly notable, but something's better than nothing. Kindra's Q bonus attack speed and AD ratio will be nerfed, which will slow down their jungling speed and weaken their late game damage. Jungle Zarya gets a nerf, which I think everyone would find reasonable considering just from the fact that her jungling speed was even faster than Karthus. The cooldown on Jax's E will increase early game, requiring a more careful use during lane phase. Tristana's Q now costs 50 mana when using it, but gets compensated with buffs on base mana and W mana cost. Brand gets another E skill damage nerf and its cooldown will increase. Rumble gets a significant nerf on his Q skill. Nidalee's Cougar form W and R get nerfed on base damage and AP ratio. Milio's passive damage will reduce, his Q's cooldown and range will be buffed, and will now refund 50% of his mana cost when he hits at least 1 enemy champion. W's recast range will become much wider than before, but if the target is too far from Milio, the speed it follows the target will slow down. His E skill's base shield mount will reduce, but its AP ratio will increase. Hecarim gets adjusted with his W, its healing and cooldown will be buffed, but its duration reduces to 4 seconds. Furthermore, his E's cooldown will no longer be fixed at 18 seconds. Aurelia's attack speed from her passive increases progressively from early to late game, scaling linearly with each level. This change results in a nerf at levels 7 and 13, but an overall buff at other levels. Additionally, the cooldown reduction of her Q skill in her ult will be nerfed late game. Aurelian's soul gets adjusted. Base AD increases by 3, his Q now has an initial mana cost but gets a remarkable buff on W range. And his ult gets an AP ratio buff, but Disguise Descend's shockwave damage will reduce. Absorb Life's heal amount will be nerfed early game but buffed late game. Finally, Warmog's HP threshold will increase to 1500. And that's all I've got for you today for this week's patch, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.